A home video plays, presenting a picture of familial perfection, a husband and wife in the prime of their lives madly devoted to two adorable children. This is the quintessential American suburbia, an immaculately clean home, a manicured garden, baking cookies as a family, and the girls droopy-eyed listening to bedtime stories. Pure joy. And what's more, mom's got a bun in the oven. Life is bliss. Except behind this facade of a real-life American dream is a story so vile and distressing it will enrage a nation. It will break a billion hearts. We give you the most hated man in America. The story started in 2010 on Facebook, when a young woman named Shannon, a gal who'd experienced her fair share of tribulations in life, met her Prince Charming, Chris. They flirted, they joked, they had their first date. 2 years later, they were at their wedding reception while teary-eyed family members stood with a microphone gushing about how perfect the pair was for each other. The newlyweds talked together about their dreams, their ideal home, and the beautiful kids that would run around it. Soon that dream came to fruition when they left their native North Carolina and moved into a splendid 5-bedroom house in Colorado. They had their first child, Bella Marie, and about 18 months later their second child arrived, Celeste Catherine, or Cece as she was affectionately known. The phrase bundles of joy would come to mind if you saw them playing in the many videos that Shannon posted on social media. Life was all about the kids, and Chris and Shannon seemed to embrace that as much as any new parents would. It looked ideal, the whole setup. "Here's the best thing that ever happened to me," Shannon said in one video, grinning from ear to ear. Her life was complete. Except, as social media teaches almost everyone that uses it, declarations of perfection only too often conceal a more complex and sometimes darker reality. This house was no sanctuary. Chris, an operative at a petroleum company, was aloof, quiet, and a kind of shadow man. Shannon, a hard-working go-getter, was by her own admission dominant and bossy. At times, this created tension in the house, a tension that would turn into an explosion of rage from the weaker part of the pairing. Then there was the debt they were in, tens of thousands in unpaid bills, student loans, and credit card debt. In June 2015, they filed for bankruptcy. They were sued for outstanding debts. They argued more. He became more withdrawn. Her sometimes tempestuous spirit became more frustrated at her husband's reluctance to speak openly about how he felt. Things were gradually falling apart. Somewhere far away, a dark cloud was forming, belying the perfect family narrative posted in video form on social media. Shannon tried to be positive, calling Chris her rock. But as you all know, rocks erode and in time become sand. As the months passed, Chris slid through her fingers every time she tried to grab him. Little did she know a beast was growing from within him. Shannon could have never known this husband of hers, this quiet man, was about to transform into his shadow self, as Carl Jung might have put it. "I couldn't have asked God for a better man," Shannon said to her video camera one time. Fast forward a few months and Shannon was driving in the car with the two girls in the back seat. Chris wasn't there, but young Bella had a message for him. She said, "My daddy is a hero. He helps me grow up strong." She said this just 2 months before she, her sister, and her mother went missing. One day, Chris got a call and was told they were gone. He drove home from work and talked to the local cop. He told concerned friends of Shannon's that he had no idea where they'd all gone. He fidgeted as he spoke. His usual cool and calm composure had gone. How do people just vanish? Why would a wife, 15 weeks pregnant, not inform him or anyone else about her and her kids' whereabouts? Soon the news media was at the house, and much of America was wondering what could have happened to those beautiful, smiling kids and their devoted mother. Chris stood on the porch and told the camera how he missed watching his daughters curl up on the sofa to watch cartoons. What he failed to mention, among many things, is that he was having an affair. He was participating in his own Instagram-worthy videos with a woman some years younger than his wife. Not long before he stood on that porch and waxed about his missing family, he told that woman he was leaving Shannon to be with her. He was with her most of the time for the 5 weeks that his wife was with the kids back in North Carolina. He was with her when he should have been saying goodnight to his sweet girls. He was with her just weeks after Shannon sent him the message, "Chris, we are so incredibly blessed to have you." Shannon could tell something was wrong though. Chris avoided her at every opportunity. He stopped having sex with her. He went for a run or worked out when she tried to talk with him. "I wish my husband wanted to talk with me," Shannon wrote in one message. She told a friend, 5.5 weeks, no sex. He's never been like this. Unbeknownst to her, Chris, like a smitten schoolboy, made a heart-strewn love letter in a card and gave it to his lover. It read, "A kiss, a touch, a smile, a squeeze." Shannon could sense something was wrong. She told him outright that he'd not been there for her or the kids. He'd not been answering calls. He'd barely been a father. They argued, mostly about his parents, who she wasn't keen on. Chris, as always, was distant, never really broaching the issue. But something inside him was cracking. The quiet man had fire growing inside of him. Shannon sent messages to her friend. "He's changed. I don't know who he is. He hasn't touched me all week, kissed me, talked to me except when I'm trying to figure out what's wrong. Unfortunately, she couldn't have been more right. She had no idea who he really was, what he was capable of. In August 2018, she left for Arizona on a business trip. Before she went, she wrote him a letter. Part of it went, "The last 5 weeks have been the hardest. I missed everything about you. I miss seeing you naked on top of me, making love to me." She said she wanted to make things right between them, to try to be like they were before. She was determined to fix the cracks that had formed, not understanding that it was he who was broken, not them. Before she got on the plane, she texted him, "I'm so happy we'll have a baby boy. I will never give up on our marriage. I just want to hold you. I love you." How he felt when he saw those words, we don't know. But that nascent black cloud that was forming a while back was now a raging maelstrom of churning anger and resentment and hate and selfishness that was fully awakened inside of him. The day he received Shannon's text message, he told her that he was going to see a Colorado Rockies game, when in fact he went out with his lover to the Lazy Dog Sports Bar. One thing we can say about Chris was that he wasn't just selfish, vile, and murderous, but he was unquestionably stupid. He used his and Shannon's shared credit card to pay for the $62 bill. It was obviously for a meal for two. Shannon guessed this. She called Chris and confronted him about it. "Really?" she said after his lame lie. "A beer and salmon dinner for $62? She knew he was lying. It was hard, but she now knew he was with someone all those times he didn't pick up the phone. And this brings us to August 13th, 2018, at exactly 1:48 a.m. A surveillance camera at a neighbor's house showed Shannon arriving home from her trip. She could have had no idea that when she stepped through that front door of the family home, she would never walk out of it again. She would never see the girls in the sunlight again. She and her daughters vanished. Chris was hardly skilled at hiding the guilt from his facial expressions and body movements. To any onlooker, and certainly to the cops, he looked as suspicious as a trench coat on a hot sunny day. Sure, the authorities searched high and low for the missing family, but awkward Chris pretty much telegraphed his guilt even before he started mumbling and stuttering about loss and love, always with a set of perfectly dry eyes. Soon, he was sitting in a police interview room. A cop sat close to him and told him he was about to take a polygraph test. After trying to hold his breath while answering questions about his wife and children in a clumsy attempt to juke the machine, the cop left the room. When she returned, she said in a very serious voice, "It was completely clear you were not honest on that test." She knew very well he knew where his kids were. It was now a matter of breaking him. It wasn't hard. At first, he denied any wrongdoing, but when his father entered the room at the behest of the cops, he broke down. Alone with his pop, he whispered that he had killed his wife. He did it, he said, because she had killed the kids after he told her he was having an affair and was going to leave her. Let's now go back to Shannon walking through the door when she got home from that trip. Chris was sleeping. On the table next to the bed was his phone. On it was the last message Shannon sent to him. It read, "I love you." What's strange is for the first time in a while, they had sex that night. We can have no idea what Shannon was thinking about being intimate with her husband, but also thinking he was almost certainly cheating on her. Chris, on the other hand, had already made plans for the future as their bodies became entangled together for the last time. In the morning, Shannon confronted him about the bill, about the fact that she thought he was having an affair. They argued. She told him he'd never see the kids again. Something snapped inside him. He later told the police, "I had no control over it." He was talking about the fact that he had his hands around his wife's throat and was squeezing the life out of her. Shannon's lifeless body was slumped on the floor when Bella appeared at the bedroom door. She asked, "What's wrong with Mommy?" She knew, but she was too young to really understand what was going on. He later took Bella to the truck, walked back into the house, and woke up Cece. He took her down to the truck and put her in the back with her sister. Their mother was lying at their feet, wrapped in a blanket. 45 minutes later, they were at the petroleum towers where he worked. The kids knew something was wrong, but could not compute the horror that was enveloping them. At the dusty site, Chris smothered Cece with the blanket in the back seat of the truck. Bella looked at the body, and after seeing her father dispose of her sister in the tower, she asked him, "Is the same thing going to happen to me as Cece?" He told her yes. He then covered her with the blanket. Her last words were, "No, Daddy." He took her to the tower. He buried his wife in the ground and then called his lover to talk about the future they were going to have together. After that, he called a realtor and discussed the selling of the house. Shannon was reported missing about 1:40 p.m. that same day, after she didn't answer calls or texts from a friend and failed to show up to a doctor's appointment she would never have missed. She was going to discuss little Nico Watts, the baby growing inside of her. You know what happened next. In court, when Chris was found guilty of murder and other charges, the judge told him, "This is perhaps the most inhumane and vicious crime I have ever seen." He issued 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole. In a later interview from inside the prison, Chris wept as he told the complete story. He ordered mac and cheese and a glass of milk shortly before he recounted every lurid detail. But it would be an injustice to the deceased to give him the last words today. So we'll let Bella finish that song she sang for her father. "He reads my books, he ties my shoes. You're a hero through and through. My daddy, daddy, I love you. Now you need to watch The Burger Chef Murders. Why is it still a mystery? Or have a look at My Nice Neighbor, Serial Killer, True Crime.